Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Angela Brennan and today I'm bringing you Spellbinders Clubkits November 2024, the Glimmer Hot Foil Kit of the Month Confetti Burst. It's got a nice half background which you can double up and have a full cut front background and three sentiments. You've got happy birthday, it's your day to sparkle, and cake, candles and confetti. Oh my! Now that cake, candles and confetti, you can use it quite ideally with the bonus item which comes with a lovely little cake die cut. I don't have that. That would be ideal. And it comes with the rainbow confetti hot foil. And per usual, what I do is I write the name of the hot foil inside the tube so it's easy for me to pick it up when I need it because I store all of my hot foils vertically. And for hot foiling, I always use the Hammermill card, which is a nice heavy cardstock which is nice and smooth as well. The smoothness is what allows the hot foil to be attached quite easily. And I cut down the hot foil, rainbow confetti hot foil, to the size of that glimmer plate, which covers the half of the card front. Now you can do it full or half. I tend to do most of it fully because I like to have a full background of confetti. And my glimmer machine from Spellbinders has arrived, as you've probably seen in the previous video, and I absolutely adore it because it's so easy to use. I just need to heat it up and then I just press the timer. The timer will blink, and when it's a solid color, it's ready for me to put it through my Platinum 6 machine. As easy as that. Now, as I've previously said, some hot foils you need to do it once, some you need to do it twice, but this rainbow confetti hot foil, it hot foils very easily, almost as easily as my star hot foil, which is polished brass. I do adore that particular hot foil. It's so easy to get it right all the time. But this one, it hot foils so beautifully, and I love that colorful confetti. It goes with the theme of the confetti background, that rainbow colors. And I also do lots of negative hot foil. In fact, because I do two of these for each background, I have a whole load of negative hot foil and I make so many cards. You'll see all the cards I create at the end of the video and you'll see all of them, but I don't show you the creation of all of it, but you'll get the gist of it. The negative hot foil and allows me to have so many additional cards, and I do enjoy using it along the stitching die of the month. So it's easy to get very good results with this glimmer machine. I find it anyway. It's just follow the rules and there you go. Remember, the glimmer plate's quite hot, so be careful with it. I've got asbestos fingers, so I just don't mind having a little bit of heat on my fingers. I end up creating quite a few backgrounds to make many cards. I make about 18 cards altogether with the negative hot foil 11 cards and the positive image 7 cards. Here I'm using the teal hot foil to hot foil the sentiments because I think the teal hot foil will be a nice contrast to the rainbow confetti background. So the hinge method is employed here. So just in case it doesn't quite hot foil the first time around, I can put it back again because I'm not sure about the teal hot foil. This is the first time I'm using the teal hot foil on this glimmer machine. So I need to consider how it's going to take, whether the foil is going to be, and it ends up being really perfect the first round itself. So I'm placing the best ever craft tape at strategic parts so I can check it and put it back if I need to. All of these hot foils, I use the same approach, the same timing, because all I do is press the timer and I think it blinks for about a minute before it goes a solid green, and when it goes a solid green, I put it through the Platinum 6 die cutting and embossing machine. I always put the glimmer platform back into the docking station so that it remains hot and I can continue hot foiling. And there you go, you see some perfect results here. I will use the coordinating dies that comes with the glimmer set, the glimmer hot foil kit of the month, and I will die cut them. And whenever I die cut this, I tend to die cut extra layers so I can layer them up for some dimension. And here you go, I think this goes well with that background. While I have my glimmer machine out, I would have also done some hot foiling with the Better Press of the Month sentiments, but I haven't got that set yet, so I will be using that set or doing some hot foiling with the Better Press when I get it. Here I've done the background with some polished brass hot foil, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some foil resist ink blending. So wherever there is foiling, the ink will resist those areas. You'll see me later create a card with this background. So it's a full background with a polished brass confetti burst. So it's nice and shiny. Now this is the solid rectangle hot foil plate from Spellbinders, and I'm going to use this to do all those negative hot foils. I'm not going to waste it. So I'm going to use, again here I'm using the Hammermill card as well. I've just cut it smaller, and I'm going to put it through the Glimmer machine the same way. The principles remain the same. The dull side of the hot foil faces the card, and the pretty side of the hot foil faces the Glimmer plate, and place the back of the Glimmer plate onto the heated platform. And it takes so well. It's the same timing because I'm pressing that same timer button. So it's about a minute. And I'm going to put it through the Platinum 6 die cutting and embossing machine the same way. And I do get consistently perfect results. I cannot say even once that the negative hot foil didn't work. So you will see me do this. So I've got so many of these negative hot foils that I end up doing quite a few cards with them. I could have kept them for later on, but I ended up making quite a few cards with them. I do like that confetti burst background because that rainbow confetti color gives it a lovely shine, and so many different colors mingled together there. So I do that, and see this clear plastic here, that really indicates that all of the hot foil has transferred to the card beautifully. And here I'm doing some hot foiling of that rainbow burst with the colored backgrounds. So you choose colored cards, but try and choose smooth colored cards with at least 100-pound weight. So it's quite solid. So there's light pink, dark blue, and I also do one with teal. So I like doing backgrounds that are not white, so you get to see the colorful rainbow confetti hot foil on different colored backgrounds as well. Here are the outputs of all the background hot foiling I've done, including the polished brass hot foil and the negative hot foiling. Next, I do some hot foiling after doing some stenciling. So I used the stencil of the month and did a background with the alternate jewel tone inks, and I'm going to hot foil a sentiment happy birthday on them. So it beautifully hot foils because I'm using the polished brass, my 100% successful hot foil, and it looks so gorgeous on it, directly hot foiled onto the stencil background. Next, I do the confetti burst glimmer plate, again using the polished brass hot foil, and next I'm going to add the sub sentiment, "It's your day to sparkle," just below the happy birthday. After that, what I do is I'm going to use the coordinating die and die cut the happy birthday. I'll use the precision layering A2 die set and die cut the card panel so it can fit onto the front of an A2 card. You can see there I've die cut quite a few pieces of the sentiment because I'm going to layer it up. I want that orange to be layered up. I'm going to place it back onto the card front, but a little bit of dimension to the sentiment happy birthday. I use liquid glue to do the layering up, and when I attach the panel to the card front, I'll use a double-sided tape. I really hope you enjoy this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up and do consider subscribing. And when you do subscribe, remember to press that notification bell so you're alerted when new videos are uploaded. I do lots of Spellbinders Clubkit videos as well as their regular releases on a monthly basis. And I will release a final Spellbinders Clubkit video of the month with a special project where I will use all of the Spellbinders Clubkits of the month into one project or one card, as well as release a playlist of all of the Spellbinders Clubkits of that month in one playlist so it's easy to access. I like layering the sentiments this way, and you can see it, all the orange layers, and it just pops on the card. I now use some gold metallic thread, to do a little bit of a twine with a bow at the bottom of the card. That's why I did not do any hot foiling at the bottom. Now, because it's quite thin and fiddly, I do place a sticky tape behind the part panel before I twine the metallic thread around the bottom part of that card panel and tie a bow. I do also secure the bow in place because it's so thin. the twine or that metallic thread with some glossy accent. So it just keeps the bow in place as well as secures the bow in without unraveling the bow essentially. So you can use a ribbon as well. I didn't want the ribbon to take up too much space. A satin ribbon would have been quite good in there as well, so it does pop a little bit more. I do feel the metallic gold thread is a little bit too inconspicuous, if you like, on the card front. So perhaps a satin ribbon would have gone better. Well, I do a couple of cards in an A2 size card, which measures 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. Most of my cards will be an A6 card size. An A6 card size measures 14.8 centimeters by 10½ centimeters. I also create a couple of cards with two different sizes. So I've got 3 cards that are A7, that is 5 inches by 7 inches, and a couple of small cards that are 4-inch square cards. That's when I use the stitching die of the month, the smaller rectangles. Here I'm attaching the card panel onto the card base with some double-sided tape, and that's a personal preference. I know some crafters like to use liquid glue to attach it onto the card base so that it gives them time to move it about, but I prefer using double-sided tape because I think it's cleaner and lesser chance of the card warping. And I place the elements of the sentiment and any embellishments with liquid glue. Here you can see the thickness of that layering, and that's what I was looking to achieve, so the sentiment will pop. I like the shine in the background, and there's no embellishments further required for this card because that glimmer hot foil shine shows through. And here's a different stenciled background, and a little bit more colorful, and I've used the rainbow confetti hot foil to do that confetti burst in the background. Now, because I want to put the sentiment with some light teal, I use the notch corner frames concentric shapes to die cut some vellum. I think the vellum, while it breaks away from that background to let the sentiment pop, it also lets that colorful background of stenciled background show through so that it's not taken away altogether. So I use vellum for those purposes quite a bit. Either use it in a circle form, heart-shaped form, and then here I'm using the notched frame corners. I like how this card turned out. I like the colorfulness as well as the glimmer and shine on it. I used the Waffle Flower A7 layers die set to die cut the rainbow confetti background as well as a red mat, and I place it onto a card front, which is an A7 card which measures 5 inches by 7 inches. And this bunch of die-cut balloons here is from the small die of the month, November 2024. And that's the thing about Spellbinders Club Kits. There's Club Kits of the month, there's a theme. And this month's theme is clearly birthday celebrations. And therefore, I die-cut the balloons with some metallic card to go with the glimmer background. So there's a lot of shine on this card. Easy enough to put this card together. The sentiments I have glimmered it or hot foiled it onto red card using the polished brass hot foil. It's not very clear how much it glimmers and shines on the video, but in real life it's really shiny, and you just need to get the lighting right or angle it right and you can see the shine come through and the sentiment reads beautifully. I really like using hot foil on cards because you don't really have to do too much, because the shininess of that hot foil lends its sparkly elements to the card as well as elegance to the card. And there you go, that's all I need to do for this card, and it's pretty much done. And see how the shine comes through, and that rainbow confetti hot foil shows through so many different colors against the light. This teal background, I've cut it down to an A6 card size, and I'm going to do some ink blending, and this is called the foil resist technique, primarily because, as the name suggests, it resists, the ink will resist all the areas that are foiled, so you'll get a nice background and the foil will shine through. I use distress inks with the foam pad, and I start at the edges. I start with broken china because I think it goes really well with a teal card, and I want a little bit a lighter color in the middle. I use tumbled glass because they go well together. And once I'm done with the tumbled glass, I do add a bit of chipped sapphire right at the edges because I want it to be slightly darker so you can see the differentiation of those three colors, creating a bit of a lighter middle to the card. And that's what I was looking to achieve when I placed those sentiments that I've hot foiled with Aura hot foil onto dark blue card. I use a dry cloth to remove all the ink on the hot foiled areas so the hot foil can shine through. And I do pop the sentiment with some foam strips, the aid of a T-ruler to make sure it's nice and straight on the card panel before I attach it to the card base. Pretty simple card again. All of the cards I create are quite simple because the Glimmer, the hot foil, has got so much going for it already. All that remains is to pop it onto a card base. And here I'm going to use that same bunch of balloons, and I've added some extra balloons to make it a bigger bunch and to make sure that the sentiments pop, because I'm going to put the sentiment on the same color as the background, which is the light pink card. And I've also hot foiled the sentiments with the rainbow confetti hot foil. So again, I'm using Vellum. Vellum's a great medium to kind of break up the background to allow the sentiment to pop or any embellishment to pop, because while it's not a solid medium, it's opaque enough to let the background be seen through, but also let the sentiment come through. I think it's a great medium to use when you want the background to be retained. Sometimes it's the little things like even using Vellum to break up the background which can make a difference. Here I'm going to be doing some more foil resist technique. I'm using an array of distress inks to create a rainbow background against the hot foiled confetti burst background in polished brass hot foil. Here I'm using domed foam pad. It's important for ink blending as well as juicy ink pads. I'm directly ink blending onto Hammermill card. Hammermill card is a nice smooth card which can do ink blending really well, but it does absorb quite a lot of ink. So ideally, it's not the best ink blending medium. So that's why I tend to use my Strathmore Bristol Smooth card. But because I've already hot folded it onto the Hammermill card, it does lend for easy ink blending. And again, I'm wiping all of that ink on the fold areas with a dry cloth. And here you go, the completed card with the gold mat and attached onto an A7 card. For the next card here, I'm going to start using the negative hot foiled images, and I'm using the stitching die of the month together with it. Now for most of this, I start using the stitching die. What I did is, I do like stitching dies, as you've probably realized, and I use the rectangle stitching die and do lots and lots of stitching. And when I do the stitching, you can see I just trap the thread behind the card and I don't use any sticky tape when I start the stitching of the rectangle frame. You can either do half stitches as I've done here, or you can complete it and go on to do another half stitch which makes the cross. It's really up to you, but I do a mixture. Like this one, I'm doing a cross, so I go back one more round and do the cross, and sometimes I just leave it at half stitches. I'm using 3 strands of the thread here. Instead of DMC thread, I'm using Luca Has thread here, which is pretty much the same as DMC thread. 6 strands, I'm using 3 strands here, and when you remove the strands, remember to remove one by one. And you will see all the cards that I've created here. Let me show you the ones with the positive images first. This is the stenciled background. You saw me put this card together, and this is the other stencil background with a little bit of vellum to break up so you can see the sentiment pop. And this was the colorful background. I like the darker background. It really makes that confetti burst foil really pop. Here's some ink blending I did with the foil resist technique. And you saw me put this card together. So it's easy to put these cards together, as I told you, because they all shine so beautifully. And similar compilation of this card. I do like how all these cards turned out. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear your comments. Your comments really keep me going. And here are all the negative hot fold cards. They're all quite similar. I've just used a lot of the August Club Kit, Small Die of the Month Club Kit from August 2024 for the sentiments, because I love having those sentiments. So that's one of those sets that you will have all the time, that you can use all the time. And even the stitching die of the month from this month, this rectangles cross stitch, I see that as a staple die set as well. So I'll have that near my craft space for quite a bit. So I'll be using it more often. So some of the club kits, you keep it by theme, some of it like the August 2024 small die of the month sentiments, as well as the November 2024 stitching die of the month. I can see them being used more often. And here are the two 4-inch square cards, and finally this card with the dark background. I've got all of the products used listed in the description below, as well as the other videos that I've done from Spellbinders Club Kits of November 2024 for your ease of reference. Do check it out. Spellbinders Club Kits can be ordered until the 27th of each month, so go get that. All those links are below. Here are close-up pictures of all the cards I've created. Quite a few cards, especially with the myriad of negative hot falls that I get. So 2 cards negative hot fall for 1 positive hot fall, because it takes 2 of them to create 1 full background. So you can do the math and see how many extra cards I've got. I did enjoy doing the stitching. It takes a little bit of time, but I find it quite therapeutic. So you can see me done some stitching in most of the negative hot fall cards, if not all of them. Thank you so much for staying till the end of this video, and I do really appreciate all the comments and love that you send my way. Happy crafting, and I'll catch you at my next video. Please do take care.